All right, good morning, YouTube. How's it doing? Hope everybody's waking up well this Saturday morning, wherever it may be that you are checking in with us from. Give it a minute to warm up. I'm still searching for some stuff. We'll see how to put this together today. So what's going on out there where you are? The weather is pretty disruptive, it looks like. People getting some good rain and stuff out and about. If you might check in on West S, they had some serious weather down there in West Texas. Keep them in your thoughts. As they had some serious damage down there yesterday, Thursday night, Friday morning. Doesn't look. We haven't seen any of the after effects yet, but there were some fatalities. Some people he knew. I believe one of them's a YouTuber, but I'm not sure who it is. So some serious events. They had that big Wyoming tornado that had some serious visuals to it. That was pretty impressive. We did that video yesterday in the chat. Very interesting. One of those few places I'd recommend having a bunker. Tornado Alley. The rest of us could probably do without one, but places like that, yeah, you need a bunker. I think they call them a root cellar. Depends on what you want to call it. But on the weather side here, out in got this hurricane brewing out here in the Atlantic, it looks like. So the hurricanes are coming around. Actually, this is on the Pacific side, it looks like. Off of Baja. If you're looking to avoid, or if you're looking to go into Cabo San Lucas, it looks like you might want to stay out of there for a few weeks, as that's coming around. There's a track. It's going to head off in the ocean, it looks like. So that's good news for Mexico. Oh, let's check in on the side chat. I haven't checked in with everybody yet. Let's see what's going on out there. We got Kenneth the fam, Kenneth the Kentucky fam. He's expanded his name. He checked in with us early, it looks like, before we even got rolling. And then we got Digger Outdoors is with us. Good morning. Yes, we can see you. Okay. Well, dang, Digger. You didn't have to do that, but thanks for the thought. Thanks for the donation there. I think we're up to we'll have to figure out what we're going to do with that whenever it comes around to getting to us. But thanks. How things going out there in your end of the country? I liked your get home bag video the other day. That was pretty good. Good stuff. All right. We've got some things pulled up here today. We're gonna roll through. The Tommy Robinson protests have started. I was going to check in on them real quick. I've got a couple links down at the bottom that I put in the links below. The ones that I found that are live. There's only two. I only found these two that popped up. So, and they're not even channels that I normally roll with. So I don't know. Maybe might still be in the early stages of forming. But if you want to check them out, they are in the links. One has got like a feed off of other live streams. He's bouncing back and forth. I kind of like the other in-person feed where they're actually there. Seems to be a little calm. This is actually in London, it looks like. This one is. But again, I think they're just kind of getting warmed up. You can see they got barricades staged there. Actually, this is already went live and went off, so yeah, this is replay. He's talking about Antifa might be showing up. They did briefly last couple weeks ago, but we'll keep an eye on this to see where it goes.
I was only going to do a quick little live stream now as we're moving down. Then hopefully as it gets close to 3 o'clock.
A couple of channels I was expecting to be there, I haven't seen go live yet, so we'll have to follow it as the morning goes on. We'll start off here with the most ignorant celebrity of the day, most ridiculous statement by a celebrity of the week. I don't know. We'll have to come up with a name for this type of stuff. But this is on Breitbart. Jodie Foster stepping her foot in the mess about guns and whatnot. And doesn't look like it will go well for her. So she wants the robots to have guns before people. So just encouraging Skynet to go active, I guess you'd say. Jodie Foster probably really enjoyed Terminator, I bet. But that's her buffoonish statement of the year, such as it is. Much more comfortable having robots own guns than people. How can an inanimate object own anything? That's the first part of the foolish statement, I guess. She's concerned about human emotions, I guess. She says, I'd be much more comfortable having robots have them, but we are designed to have emotions that overflow and that are not guided by our heads, which is not entirely accurate, for one. But she goes on to have sentient beings that are completely and entirely guided by their emotions, have the power to administer life or death using 1 kilowatt of energy in a nanosecond is just unfathomable with me. She must not have the power of logical thought, which isn't surprising. Not surprising at all, I guess. She's promoting her latest movie, which of course has lots of killing in it, in which she plays a nurse who treats a gunshot victim who was shot in a gun-free zone. This is the commentary from Bloomberg. The kinds of places that have 100% gun control and the magnets of mass public attackers. It's a horror flick basically. So that is what that is. Um, but they just document her multiple uses of firearms in movies for usually self-defense. Actually, you remember Silence of the Lambs and stuff. But only those superior FBI agents can have weapons, right? That's the agenda pushing. Apparently, she started her public advocacy for gun control after the 2007 movie The Brave One, where her character acquired a handgun for defense of herself and getting revenge on the men who killed her husband. So, revealing a little bit about her own psyche, she is quoted as saying, "Isn't it possible that we all have that bit of insanity in us? That's why I'm for gun control." Because the people that have the guns aren't going to be insane at all, just the people that aren't allowed to have them. Right. Yeah. Yep. So there's your idiot statement of the day. We got to get a name for this. Yes, we do. Anyway, I found that humorous nonetheless. What's going on out there? Diggers hanging with us. Oh, the overpaid twit of the week is your recommendation for the title. Overpaid twit of the week. Yeah, we'll figure out something. It's kind of long winded. I don't know. Um, maybe we can get it down to two, something down to two, or overpaid twit, and just call it that. Definitely paid more than they're worth. Hey, good morning, Alaskan Christian. Yes, and a broken robot is probably more harmful than a broken human. Uh, but bad thing about robots is you can cram all the bad stuff about people into them, just as you can cram all the good stuff about people into them. Oh, she was watching RoboCop Castaway. You think so? That yeah, she's watching that, going flashing back to the '80s, I guess maybe. Which is Silence of the Lambs from the '80s or '90s? Is it early '90s? So more gun control getting put out there on the radar by your useful idiots in Hollywood. But moving on, we've been following the economy all obviously all the time, and this week they came out with the employment numbers with the number of people without jobs being more than the number of jobs available, being the real big headline from this last week. Um, and the state, this is out of Zero Hedge, coming out of Texas. Pretty much the shale industry is hiring anybody and everybody with a pulse, apparently. So pretty much if you move to Texas, you'll be getting 30, $40 jobs plus overtime, etc. Midland Mayor Jerry Morales says the boom is a double-edged sword while it is increasing sales tax revenue by 34% year over year. That's pretty. Midland's going to be living the good life till the crash happens, but they're doing good for now. An incredibly low unemployment rate of 2.1%. Severe shortage of low-paying jobs around town, such as the 100 open teaching positions. Yeah, why would you get a teacher's job if you can work in the oil fields? This is coming out of Bloomberg. They're using these stats for in some of this interview. He says he's seen it many times before in previous booms and busts. Businesses can't compete for workers with the oil fields, so a lot of those places go vacant. Oh no, what happened? Am I buffering with you good folks? Looks like I am. What happened here? Can you guys hear me out there? My indicator just went bad on me, saying I'm not getting through. Or am I buffering at some point? That didn't look good. All right, well, looks like we had a temporary glitch. We'll keep rolling. So there's the unemployment chart for Midland, Texas, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Year over year comparison. A lot of towns would like to have this problem, I'm sure. So here's an example. Doesn't take much to get hired by the oil industry, as Bloomberg summarizes, quote, "We'll hire just about anyone with basic training, and it will quickly double, triple, or extruple their pay in the process." Jasmine Jimenez, 24, flew to a 2-week training program in New Mexico, junior college, and was hired by Chevron as a well pump checker. Starts at $28 an hour and makes doubles what she was earning as a prison guard at the county correctional facility. Supply of homes is a record low. Is at the record lowest on record, yeah. $325,000 average price in Midland, highest since June 2014. That was the last time when we saw oil above $100 a barrel. So, as an example of, I guess, the economic success going on, Texas is one of them. But don't think you're going to be able to get no minimum wage job. Imagine coming out of high school. You'd think if you were a lazy high school kid, this would be the prime time to go get you a job. So this gentleman, Armin Rashvan's energy technology program at Odessa College, some of his students with 2-year degrees are making more than he does, despite his master's degree in science, electrical, and electronic engineering. Well, he's the one teaching, they're the ones doing. I think that's the difference there. There's that point in life, I think you have to understand that's probably what's going to happen. But also moving on, to say the truckers, CDLs, CDL is the golden ticket around here, they say. Using flatbeds to around the shale oil fields can easily make six figures. Jeremiah Fleming, 30, he was on track to make $140,000 driving flatbed this year. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go anywhere else if I was 30 making 140,000. So that's interesting, anecdotal, but also concerning. There's boom bust in the oil, and Texas probably knows it better than anybody, and they even talked about it a little bit in there. But probably oil still has room to run. It's down around $67 or so. You figure it's got room to run up to $100 or to $80 without too much difficulty. So that when we've talked about last couple of months, the U.S. becoming the largest exporter in the world of oil, et cetera, et cetera. So there's lots of prosperity to be had out there. What's going on in the side chat? All right, Digger, be right back. See you in a minute. All right. Texas could hire North Koreans after they denuke. I don't know that. Maybe the Texas could hire the North Koreans to do the, restaurant jobs and stuff. I don't think we'd want them working in the oil fields necessarily. They're not the most technologically adept people, just because of the nature of their upbringing and whatnot. They haven't got a whole lot of technical education. The oil fields might balk at that, but they can get those menial jobs that those lazy high school kids won't do. Although some of those high school kids might be getting out there in the oil fields pretty quick too, just because of their locale and whatnot. Yeah, right. If the city doesn't plan right, that extra tax revenue can be a detriment when they don't plan properly, for sure. And yeah, Alaska, you've seen that in Alaska too, I'm sure. Yeah, right. Yeah, you don't hear much about Alaska in this big wave, or any of the other states. It's been focused a lot on Texas for some reason. And Alaska's currently highest in unemployment for the country. That's interesting. You would think that they'd have a little more resiliency, but I don't know. Pretty much every other natural resource is processed at some level in Alaska. So I don't know if it. Do you think it's the lumber industry, golds? What's holding them that unemployment so high? Might be the question. Or they're just maintaining and not fluctuating as much as everybody else, which might be a good thing. So moving on, another article that the story that Zero Hedge had was where the schools have the best return on investment in each state. So while many of us would probably be not going to be able to afford to send our kids to college anyway, but just some information for anybody looking into colleges. It's got the breakdown of what it costs to fund your education, what the average student loans out as a part of that, and then what your return on that investment is over 20 years. This starts out here. The student today is graduating with $39,400 in student debt. Says that's an enormous sum, particularly for liberal arts grads with few reliable employment options, right? And few of them earn more than $30,000 a year right out of school. Nationally, students owe more than $1.4 trillion on their loans, nearly 50% more than all credit card debt in the U.S. The Brookings Institute has a projection that nearly 40% of student loan borrowers will default by 2023. Yet most Americans still believe that college is a sound investment. That's a good way to start that off. Most Americans. Um, so connecting this return on investment analysis might be very valuable just to before people get started. Those looking to go that route for a liberal arts degree or otherwise. So this group on howmuch.com and PayScale is what this refers to. Some studies they did in an article, and they decided to calculate the schools with the best 20-year ROI in each state. And it's hard to compare state to state against each other because so many of them have different fee structures. The startup for in-state students, so it's probably best just to do in-state, and then if you're moving around, you have to figure the rest out yourself. Says many will be familiar, but some will be very surprising. For example, the winner in Connecticut, the Coast Guard Academy, beat out Yale. Across the U.S., many technical schools and military academies appear to outrank big name schools. That's because big name schools charge way too much for very little return. So here's the breakdown by state. It's got a chart. You can browse it and find your state and see what your estimated return on investment will be, including the payback of your loan average in your state. So that's interesting. I thought if you're in that zone in life, or you have kids that are thinking about what they're going to do, show some hard numbers to them. Do they really want to use 4, 5, 6 years of their life to toil and trouble to get in debt for this versus some of the options they might have, like the Texas example, 2-year technical degree somewhere, especially if you got those skills and interests in different trade jobs can be very profitable, especially over the long term when you don't have that school debt. Here an example is here, like in New Mexico, the Institute of Mining and Technology is number one. Oregon Institute of Technology in Oregon, South Dakota School of Mines. So a lot of people going to get those technical degrees for those type of things. Milwaukee School of Engineering is the best in Wisconsin. So kind of interesting there, yeah. So just FYI for you out there in the chat or anybody watching it after the fact. Hey, good morning, Barry. How's it going up in your neck of the woods? Lucky you're getting some rain up there when we started off with the weather this morning. Castaway, where does the money go for college? Most of your college credits can be earned online. Many homeschoolers follow the model. You can get basically your associate's degree early before you, and the same time basically as you would graduate high school as a homeschooler. A lot of people do that, get ahead of the game and get those college credits knocked out, and you're way ahead of your peers a lot of times. Some high schools have the program where they'll go to a local technical school or community college to get those credits as well and get their associates. But yeah, it's the prestige thing that goes with all these highfalutin colleges that really bumps these numbers up, and causes inflation, I guess you'd say, in the school system and these credits. Because when you're even your high-end state schools like Cal Berkeley and University of Texas and stuff, they just charge extraordinary amounts just because they have this prestige factor that, and it goes towards these huge teacher salaries that really, yeah, they're giving you a degree or these class credits way overpriced compared to actually learning in a community college environment. Really, the price of your degree should really be in those. If you're getting a technical degree, you're actually learning some high-end skills, you would hope, in specific areas like engineering, stuff like that. These, like you talked about at the beginning of this article, liberal arts degrees. I mean, how far do you have to go to really regurgitate what comes out of a book half the time? There's so many of them. Underwater basket weaving, as we used to refer to it. But that's some information for everybody. If anybody's involved, interested, involved, wondering what's out there, how to compare schools, etc. It's just, what is return on investment? Sit down with your kids and go, this is what your prospects are. Maybe you should look at something else. Or your first, obviously, some people just excel and are stellar and should go to college. Some people are more should than should not, but a lot of people are should not. And a lot of things driving the cost so high, or everybody thinks they should. A lot of should nots are going to school. That's where you get these dropout rates and everything else. Let's check back in over on the Tommy Robinson thing and see if there's any new live streams kicking real quick. Welcome back, Digger. Was the dog happy? All right, a few more live, so they're getting some more stuff going on here. They're expecting kind of, it's gotten sizably bigger as we saw from, so this is RT. They're starting some speeches. They've definitely filled the square. I would say this is more than last time. But the British cabbie guy isn't got his streaming going, who I'm subscribed to, and neither is the college student chick that I thought would be streaming, and she's not there either. I like those kind of man on the street perspectives more than the press perspective. And we're froze here. Thank you. Now, thank you very much. But let me finish off. It's great to all see you here in your. See who we got here. Red Pill Phil. Different perspective. His feed is garbage. Can't really see that. Someone said about 100. Yeah, about 100. Yeah, that's about right, isn't it? A lot of lads have gone into the pubs now. So, yeah. We're filtering out. Speeches are boring. Let's go back to that other one. Oh, there she is. She's streaming now. And her feed is garbage too. So as we would suspect, any independent is not getting through at all. But the RT is getting through just fine. Yeah, the cell towers are probably overloaded at the minimum. She's buffering worse than I do usually. All right, we'll go back to the RT feed just for now. But they're just having speeches and whatnot. Speaking out against everything in the government doing unjustly. So good on them. If they could get this to happen in 30 or 40 cities in Britain, it would be much better. So that's going on there. We'll check back in here in a little bit. What else? Talked about so that was kind of the end of everything I had pulled up here. Anybody got any issues on their radar out there that they want to bring up? Anything on your end of the world, country? M Long hasn't joined us yet. It doesn't look like he had that natural gas explosion or something. Was it last week or so ago? What the other ever outcome of that was, like what caused it and whatnot. That happened right in the middle of the chat. I was like, I didn't figure it out until after the chat was over. He was talking about right there in his backyard. It was live at the time. Yeah, right. Alaskan. They got their own feeds for the official news, I guess. But your independent people are going to struggle with the public cell system and whatnot. Jeep Jamboree. All right, that sounds like a good time, Digger. Is that Butler, Tennessee? You're out that way. There can be a Butler in probably every state. um, I know there's a Butler, Tennessee, though. There's a Butler, North Carolina, for that matter. Um, I would say there's probably one in just about every state, common term name, but that'd be a good time for sure. Fun thing to do. Butler, Pennsylvania. See, shows what I know. Yeah, that would be a good time regardless. Are you going, Digger? Or you just know about it? Yeah, I would invite Tactical Tony to go with me, but his Jeep got sideswiped this past week. It's out of action. We were giving him a hard time yesterday morning about it. It looks like he might be totaled. The frame's bent. He's waiting to find out. So the underlying stuff in the Drudge is just a good place to find some unusual topics or off the radar stories that nobody else is talking about. He pulls a lot of links from local papers and stuff. Might lead you down a rabbit trail or two. Hey, Alaskan, have a good weekend. Enjoy. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for dropping by. It's pretty early there. What are you guys, an hour behind us on the West Coast? An hour or 2 hours? Depending on where you're at, maybe in Alaska, but up bright and early, though. Yeah, Castaway. Well, the sound weapons are limited in who has them available, too. Obviously, I'm sure the British main police probably have access, but it kind of depends on where you are and who can get them. Obviously, they can request them from somebody else here in the U.S. They just ask somebody else to loan theirs, but I don't think there's enough of them out there yet to, if you had a groundswell of multiple big cities, they wouldn't have them everywhere. We're at that point right now, I think. Obviously, it could get worse in the future as they purchase more and more of those. But as what chat were we on, or was it talked about as these protests, for lack of a better word, does these things grow and get more confrontational? it's the people are needed to be in an outside ring, because you can't allow yourself to be on an X, basically an ambush zone. There needs to be either needs to be a free moving, like a walking protest, or you need to have the ability to put your own outside security type people on the outer ring, because to put yourself in that, like in that park in Charlottesville, to put yourself all in that little park contained in there, uh, is detrimental to everybody. And that should change the way people protest in the future too, in large crowds and stuff. Keep it moving, or also have a ring around, just like the cops do a cordon of an area. You kind of got to have your own, of at least people that are gathering information and observing at the minimum, who can talk to whoever. I guess not whoever, but if it is a led protest, like the organizers. Um, but that's a separate issue, I guess. But definitely changing the way protests are done. Yeah, right, Digger. I think he's waiting to find out if they're going to total it or not. I don't know if you follow Tactical Tony, but yeah, he just got it like 3 weeks ago, like literally. And this lady T-boned him. She was she was traveling in a turn lane or something and sideswiped him pretty hard. Totaled that other car. That was what was funny. He's inside of his Jeep is like, it's damaged, but you look at it, it's like, you can drive away, no problem. And the front of that car was just smashed up, radiators gone and everything. It was pretty funny. It's like, yep, that's a Jeep versus Toyota. I think it was a Toyota or something like that. He was pretty irate about it. It was kind of like your stereotypical it's your stereotypical fast food worker, for lack of a better. I mean, she worked at McDonald's. She was a Lyft driver. She was kind of between jobs. Said he didn't have nothing good to say about her. That's for sure. Cop had to tell her to tie her shoes, because just for her safety, like thing. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Um, it was a pretty cheap used vehicle he got. I doubt if it had gas. It would really depend on what kind of deal he got when he bought it. 99, I think, that he got. So he really got it on the cheap and was going to put some money into it. Yeah, I don't think the gap insurance applies here. He shouldn't he bought it under book. Would be ideal, but I'm not sure. Yeah, pretty much, Digger. All big cities are about the same. Vegas, Pittsburgh, Chicago, LA. You're going to get the same types everywhere. I haven't seen anything new on the South African issue of the land or the water, either one. There was an article earlier in the week comparing the California proposal, the legislative proposal, to South Africa's issues, and we kind of talked about that last week. But I haven't seen anything else we've been tracking on that. Oh, you're a high roller, Digger. You got a 2018? Oh, you're living. Oh, that's right. I saw that video. Yeah, where you got the Renegade. Yeah, like you're saying, it's not. You're bugging out with you and the dog, so you don't need much, right? Hey, whatever it takes. Those are some of those things. Like it's a Jeep. It'll get through what you need to get through. They're not going to put it out there as a Jeep without having the. It definitely shows some of the Fiat influence that it is what it is. Get wheel drive capability is half the battle a lot of times. Let me see what else we can pull up here. Feeds out of the UK are garbage, so we'll stick with the RT right now while me and Digger are talking. Blow that up a little bit for everybody. Hey, Walter's checking in. Good morning. How's it going? Yeah, Digger. Yeah, if you got gas mileage issues, that's the good thing I like about summer. When I take the top off the Jeep and the doors, I get about 2 gallons more, 2 miles more per gallon, just taking that weight off and less wind resistance and everything. Because I got the roof rack on it, and then you take all out. You just you save on the gas, and it looks like RT's having some issues too on their feed. So it's not, they're okay. We'll see how that continues to go. So it's just more people still speaking and stuff. So people milling about smartly. Looks like they have quite a few plants inside the crowd. You got all these people standing here, like just watching everybody else. Some of these people are agents of the UK, not necessarily part of the crowd. Not clapping, not cheering, just watching. Yeah, they're definitely not there to support. They're there for other reasons. Always keep your eye out for those types. So how's things going out there? You're also in Pennsylvania, right, Walter? I think you and Digger we're a 2-state show today. Yeah, our T's feed's getting jacked too. They're talking right now about the Brexit issue in independent Great Britain. Yeah, Digger, having that gas mile, that's a big gas mileage difference. My Wrangler doesn't get that though, so I can't say much. Yeah, Castaway, you can't get an immediate headline about this without it saying alt-right, which is such a bogus misnomer. When the issues of what's going on there, it's like the media is just protecting their own territory on this. They just want to be the only ones to be able to cover anything. It's better for their bottom line. They're not going to support the little guy having free speech rights or anything.
Open borders and Schengen. I've been to Calais. I've been to Calais jungle more times than any other politician. I've been to the Greek camps, the southern Spanish border, and Morocco. And I sit on the with terrorism. And my friends, we've not seen nothing yet. The EU has systematically failed to control its borders and protect its citizens. The migrants are slipping into the UK day by boats and vehicles because we have failed to protect our borders. Because we've laid off the police. We've laid off the border force staff. It's because of so-called austerity in this country. They targeted the wrong people. We need to build up the police force again and build up our border force. But let's just think for a moment what those terrorist numbers mean. The EU and the UN reckon that 50,000 jihadis slipped through during the past 2 years of the migrant crisis. They reckon there's 1,000 jihadi brides that want to come back to our countries with their offspring. They abandon us to go and fight for ISIS. And their breeding factories. I say no. They gave up their rights to be British citizens. And I'll give you some more figures. More than 50 children in the UK are living under a canopy.
I don't know. Can you guys hear that? It's hard to understand the British talk, little less hear it through a separate feed. I don't know if you guys are getting that, but just going through the different stats on the immigration in Great Britain and everything. Nobody's happy with it. I guess she'd saying earlier in that statement about she's visited Morocco and other places where they have issues with the migrants coming through and whatnot. So you can understand her, Digger? Oh, that's good, because I have a hard time just listening to it on the direct feed.
They refuse me. And Mrs. May is refusing to have the debate. That's why we're here today. Instead, they jump Tommy for telling the truth. So lots of more terror that young people who want to protect our culture and identity from entering Britain. Canadian and Commonwealth citizen Lauren Southern, banned. US citizen Brittany Pettibo, banned. Norwegian Tore Rasmussen, banned. Australian citizen Martin Selner, banned. Why do they do this? To look tough. They use the Terrorism Act. These young people are not terrorists. These young people are also political prisoners. Tommy has support all across the world, and in particular in the EU. You've heard from my colleagues today. I'm the warm-up for Geert Wilders. He's the one that radicalised me when I got into the EU Parliament. My colleagues this week from across Germany, France, the Netherlands and Belgium and Flanders all took part in a debate and a conference that I organised. We saw massive support for Tommy across the world, from Denmark, Austria, Tel Aviv, New York, Australia, Brussels and Eric Trump. Tommy has even been offered political asylum in Germany and Australia. My colleagues across the EU were shocked that the UK, the bastion of democracy, of free speech and tolerance, has become a totalitarian state.
Well, Castaway, that's what they're trying to avoid, is the tipping point. They're trying to string everybody along and keep everybody pacified, I guess you'd say. Yeah, Castaway, did they have any protests today down there? I mean, they've talked about the different ones throughout the last couple of weeks, but did they have one today down in Australia that you know of on this issue?
Where's Human Rights Watch? Where's the UN? They're too busy defending the rights of criminals, migrant invaders and terrorists. The British establishment has thought by banging up Tommy, they could keep a lid on the anger of the red gangs of jihadi terror. The revolting leader of the working classes hasn't lost his voice. My friends, I'm going to shut up now, because one of the greatest fighters for our freedom is about to take the stage.
So they're bringing some big shot on, I guess.
Please welcome the leader of the Freedom Party, Geert Wilders!
So Geert Wilders is coming up. He's kind of big time over there, I guess. Kind of a mini Ron Paul, maybe. You might describe it as.
So London, how are you? Wow, what a crowd here today. It's so good to see so many of you here today. You are all heroes for being here today. And I am here to tell you that you will never walk alone. And we are here to tell the world, and the UK government in particular, free Tommy Robinson. And at this very moment, thousands of people all over the world are demonstrating in front of British embassies, from LA to Sydney, and over 500,000 people have already signed the petition for Tommy. And all with the one important message: free Tommy. So, Downing Street is just around the corner. So maybe once again, as loud as possible as we can, let them hear our message: free Tommy Robinson. So, listen to us. Listen to us, Sajid Javid. Listen to us, Sadiq Khan. Listen to us, all you in power. We want the release of Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson is the greatest freedom fighter of Britain today. Tommy Robinson is a freedom fighter. He says what no one dares to say. He has guts. He has courage. And that is more that we can say from all those people that govern us. Because our governors sold us out with mass immigration, with Islamization, with open borders. We are almost foreigners in our own land. And if we complain about it, they call us racist or Islamophobe. But I say, no more. And what do you say? No. And that's right. Enough is enough. We will not be gagged anymore. No more tyranny. My friends, 75 years ago, your fathers and grandfathers liberated my country from tyranny. My country, the Netherlands, is a free country today because the British brave boys and men, people like you, liberated us. And do you know,
call these British soldiers, we call them Tommies. That's how we call them. But today, your government has put a Tommy in jail. Freedom is behind bars. Tommy is behind bars. And that is totally unacceptable. And that is why we say, set him free. Tommy is in jail while the British state looked in the other way for years, when thousands of English children and girls were brutally raped by those grooming gangs. They were your daughters, the daughters of the brave Tommies, the daughters of the hard-working, decent people of Britain who made this beautiful country so great. But for years and years, the police, the politicians, the prosecutors did nothing and looked the other way. They refused to listen to the victims. They arrested fathers who tried to liberate their daughters. They left children in the hands of these gangs. But Tommy, my friends, Tommy acted. Tommy didn't look in the other direction. He refused to ignore the problem. He gave voice to millions of Britons who were abandoned by the authorities. And when he protested, when Tommy protested, the same authorities could not be fast enough to jail him and to gag the media. And I tell you, that is not democracy. That is not freedom. That is what they do in Saudi Arabia. So I ask you, do you want to be Britain or Saudi Arabia? My friends, it was not Tommy who was breaching the peace. It was your government who was breaching the peace. And we cannot, and we will not accept it any longer. We want freedom. And it is our duty to speak out against rape, against grooming gangs, against Sharia law, against barbarism. And we demand the freedom of Tommy Robinson. So here we stand in full solidarity with Tommy, because like him, we are sick and tired for being silenced. And I tell you, today we have a message for all the governments in the world. And our message is, we will not be silenced.
Hey, Slicer G, good morning.
We will not be intimidated. And we tell the government, we are not afraid of you. We will never surrender. We will stand strong and do our duty. We will defend our civilization. And we will protect our people. And I tell you, to the governments, you can throw us in jail, but you will never defeat us. Because, my friends, for every Tommy whom you imprison, thousands will rise up. So take notice, Theresa May. Take notice, Dutch Prime Minister Rutte. Take notice, Mrs. Merkel or President Macron. Take notice, the future is ours and not yours. We will defeat you politically. Because we, my friends, we are the people. And every day, every day more people are joining our cause, the cause of freedom. And every day our numbers grow. And our demands are right and just. This is what we want. First and most important, free Tommy Robinson. But we also want you to give our countries back to us. Stop selling us out. Stop the mass immigration. Protect your own people. Stop gagging us. Restore the freedom of speech. My friends, long live Great Britain. Allow me, long live the Netherlands. Long live freedom. But most of all, long live Tommy Robinson. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So those that just may have checked in, that's Geert Wilders, politician from the Netherlands, giving the speech there. He's kind of the mini Ron Paul of Europe, I guess you might say. Hey, thanks for joining us, Slicer G. We're just kind of following this. We went through some news earlier. If you got anything you want to throw out there, we can talk about. We're just kind of watching this as listening as we're going through. Tommy boy, good morning. Take notice you're listening. All right. How's things out there your way? Thanks for checking in and joining us today. So RT cuts their camera away. So he was definitely getting them fired up. I caught the part. I went to go refresh my coffee and missed a little bit, but I like the part where he referenced the Netherlands reference for British soldiers during World War II was Tommy. That was pretty good. And the liberation of the Netherlands in World War II and whatnot. But good time. People are climbing barricades and walls now. Definitely getting good. What's going on out your way, Tommy boy? Living large. Let's see if any of these cell phone feeds have caught up yet. Oh, that's offline there. I did find it funny that there were a couple of "Don't Tread on Me" flags throughout some of these protests. The irony is palpable when you see that. Might be a bad sign for the crown out there if that keeps as a trend. Looks like this is a separate location for a protest off of a Facebook stream. Hey, Digger. All right. Check back in when you do. I did have a question for you about your Renegade, so let me know when you're back. It's sunny and hot, Tommy boy. Yep, you're going to get those afternoon thunderstorms you expect. Whatnot. That's usually the case in the South this time of year. So this looks like it's a feed of a location separate from the main protest down there in London. And I'm not sure where this is. And this is streamed over Facebook and then restreamed here over YouTube without a description. But it's a good little crowd. This statue might be a British statue, World War II statue somewhere. I don't have my landmarks that well. If anybody knows Britain or England well, you might know where this is at. Is this in the U.S.? Pan around there. The audio's not coming through. And it looks like it's Britain, I guess. But it's this on the outskirts maybe of the main protest area? They're definitely a ways away. Looks like. Whoa, that's them, not me. Yeah, Castaway. I think the press angles are deliberately outside the protest area. They're not giving them like a straight on shot of the stage. I think they kept all the press to the sides. Probably some security justification of some sort, saying they didn't want them intermixed with the protesters or whatever. Because usually, it would be a straight on shot of that stage, but instead the RT was like way off in a corner. It was probably deliberately set up like that for sure. So this looks like it's something people way on the edges. So several thousand people, it looks like, attended this so far. And the Russians are the only ones streaming it. Here's some parliamentarian maybe coming to the area. It's funny now that YouTube does this disclaimer on all the Russian channels. Sputnik is funded whole in part by the Russian government, so they identify all government-funded sites now. But the thing is, they use a Wikipedia reference. Like, Wikipedia is not a reference, YouTube. Wikipedia is garbage. I have to remind my kids of that all the time. So somebody is coming to the area, and the media is interested because they're all taking photos and stuff of them. Coming out of the British government buildings, it looks like. Oh, that might be Gert Wilder's leaving. The British are so much more polite about their protesting than we are. Even you see the protesters talking to the police and stuff when they were mad a couple of weeks ago. They were even conversing like, proper British citizens. Even though the protesters were angry at the cops. They were yelling shame on them for arresting Tommy and everything else. But they were still polite after the fact. We'll see how long that holds out. Oh, Digger, I was just going to ask you if that Renegade had a top removal option, or if you had that. Like, does it have a sunroof removal or anything like that on the new Renegade? I hadn't caught that on any of the ads or anything. If there was some top-down option for that vehicle, seems like it'd be a necessity for something like that, but I don't know. If you're still here, I'll get you when you get back. Looks like it was a couple minutes ago. So the media followed Gert Wilders out on that end. Yeah, it looks like RT did the same. It looks like RT's the same feed as Sputnik. Or they're right next to him. Oh, you have a sunroof, but no. They have a sunroof, but no top off option. Okay, I didn't know because like the Freedom Top with the Wrangler, you have that different option. Maybe they built something into the Renegade. I mean, all Jeeps should have a top removal option. But I guess hey, Tony checked in with us. Yeah, Bundy, what's up? Is that your daily advertisement for Ryan Bundy for governor? Is that what you're doing, Tony? Oh, is sunroofs that expensive? That's it's not good for me. The sunroof on our truck broke, and I got to get that fixed at some point. I got the part. I see what parts broke. It's just simple little plastic parts. I took it apart and whatnot, and it's like, yeah, they'll probably charge you a couple $100 just to replace those couple little plastic hinges and stuff. Yeah, Tony, we were asking about your Jeep earlier. You got any status updates on that thing? You can be able to drive that thing away later? It's a F-250 digger. F-250 with the sunroof. The early '04 models. So the media is now lost away from the protests and following Gert Wilder's out. They've lost their way or something. I don't know what they're doing. They're kind of meandering around. Yeah, it's like the press are avoiding the main area now. I don't know what's going on. Looks like to be a nice weather day. People are wearing jackets, so it's not overly hot. I hate to go to a protest and be too hot. Digger, if they say they have to get the whole module, I'll just leave it the way it is, unused pretty much. I mean, I can pull back the shade and the shade barrier and still have the sunroof, but you just can't lift the sunroof, um, the motorized part of it. And it's just a couple, two little plastic pieces. I would get it, and I know if I got the parts, I couldn't put it back together, I guess I'd say, because I'm not sure exactly how they fit, but it shouldn't require the whole module. It's fairly ridiculous if they said it did. Yeah, there's no way I'm paying 500, 1,500 bucks to get that replaced. Yeah, Castaway's like a stray dog. Right, they're just wandering around now. It's like people are still speaking, there's still this going on, and they're like way over here, like wandering around. It's kind of funny. So I've got reloaded on the coffee. We're in here for the duration, or at least till this cup of coffee's down. So hang in there with us. If you're in the side chat, throw something out there if you want us to pull something else up that interests you. We'll take a look. But this is live, so we followed it a couple weeks ago. We thought we'd check back in with it and see what's up with it. See if this actually gets anywhere. It's a good way to get out people's frustrations, but it needs to have action as well, and actual things need to occur. All right. Yeah, Digger. I went to my local salvage yard. They don't have any F series parts, F series vehicles, and they have no Jeeps. I've been there, done that. They say those things disappear. I mean, there's so many of those here in our area. It's like the only thing, if it's like I try to drive the two most popular vehicles in our whole northern Nevada. You can't drive. I wave. The Jeep Wave is my hand's tired. I have a very strong Jeep Wave. It's been exercised plenty, and then the F series vehicles, they're everywhere too, and the salvage yard doesn't even get them there because they're basically bid out by other people that are in those spare parts lines. Like the salvage yard can't afford to compete for those vehicles. Link you up, Tony. You up for a chat this early in the morning? This is my news chat, man. I only talk to myself. Don't you know how this works? I'll bring you in for a little bit, see if I can figure out how to get one out. I'm not. It's too early in the morning for a real chat. Before you know it, we'll have Bikes translating German on here after his customary shots. So bringing somebody else on with a big introduction. I didn't catch his name. He said Ronnie or something like that.
You're forgetting the most important part of that chant. You're forgetting the London Mayor at the end of it. Because we are going to take the fight to Sadiq Khan, and we are going to beat him. Yeah, I don't know why you've heard from me enough today, so I'm not going to give a particularly long speech. I also hate reading from speeches. I just like to be here to support all of you guys, to support Tommy Robinson, to put my fingers up at Theresa May and the political establishment. And let me tell you something, I just literally received a text message from Washington, DC. It's not Donald. That would be huge. The former White House chief strategist, Steve Bannon, has just texted me to say he wishes he could be with you all here today and that he expresses his support for Tommy Robinson and wants to see Tommy Robinson free. The only other thing I really want to say, because we've covered so much with the other great speakers here today, the only other thing I want to say is look at what's going on in Italy. Hey, Tony, look at what's going on in Poland. Look at what's going on in Hungary. The nations, the people of these nations are taking their countries back. Are we going to join them? Oh, Theresa May, we are going to join them. We are going to take our country back, ladies and gentlemen. The knuckle draggers are uniting. As I saw a sign over there, it's the people versus the pedos. I want to send a message to everybody watching worldwide right now. You protested in Australia, in Israel, in the United States, in France, all across the world. Thank you so much for your support, but keep going, keep going, keep going. We do not need people in spirit, we need bodies on the streets. And we have the Sky News and the BBC and all these guys, let me reiterate once again, we have over 20,000 people here today. Enoch Powell.
I think he just said 20,000 people.
In 1968, to see and to not speak would be the great betrayal. Are you going to betray yourselves? Are you going to betray your kids? Are you going to betray your country? Are you going to betray Tommy? Ladies and gentlemen, we will not retreat, we will not back down. No state, no threat, nor death would stop us. This is the new movement for liberty in this country, and we will free Tommy Robinson. I'm sure we have some American friends in the crowd, on stage, and watching at home. You know, there was a man called Paul Revere. He rode through the night on his horse. He said, the British are coming, the British are coming. Well, let me tell you something. We're here today to say a similar thing. The British are coming back! And it is my great pleasure now, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce you to your next speaker. The leader of the For Britain Party is Anne-Marie Walters!
I don't usually do written speeches. I usually know what I want to talk about and speak. But today I decided, a couple of days ago I was thinking about this, and I decided to jot down a few thoughts. And if you'll allow me, I will read those thoughts to you now. This is a message to everyone here, to Theresa May and her government, and to Antifa. I have a couple of things to say to you all. And to you, thank you once again. Once again, you are showing your commitment to freedom, to justice, and your opposition to the Islamic tyranny and supremacy that plagues our great country. Our leaders, our media, our police, all prioritize Islam in their decision making.
Hey, Tony, what's up?
What's up?
So we got a special guest. We'll keep the video up here.
I just got off work, so you know what time it is.
Uh-oh.
It's Friday, and I just got off, so.
Friday, it's Saturday. What are you talking about?
My Friday.
Yeah.
When you work grave, what does it matter? Monday, Friday, it's all the same.
It's all off sync from everybody else anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I go back to days in a couple days, so I'm all jacked up.
Oh, really? They rotate that fast?
No, it's all fucked up. They just, I don't know.
They don't know what they're doing.
Pretty much.
You don't get to volunteer for work, shift work? You have to just tell you what to change?
No, they were gonna fire a guy and move me in his spot, and now they're not gonna do that. So they made the attempt to do that and already moved me, and now they're gonna move me for like a third time, I guess, and that's hopefully where I'll stay.
For at least a little while?
Yeah, it's like they're paying me, so it's like, how much complaining can I really do?
Yeah, we were talking earlier at the beginning of the chat about the oil jobs in Texas. People are starting at $25 an hour.
Yeah,
You go get about 2 weeks of training at a technical school, and you're racking it up as soon as you get out of there.
yeah, it's good money. My cousin has a gig where he flies, the company flies him out of Colorado to Vegas, and then from Vegas they all meet up, I guess, and they fly him all to North Dakota, and he does like 20 on and 10 off, and that's his rotation.
Huh. Yeah, I know a guy that got out, and he went up there to North Dakota to drive trucks, and they were working serious hours. They would do like 312s, and then they'd have like a couple of days off, then 312s, like something like that. They just drove constantly. It was like consistently out to the pickup. Either they'd pick up oil or, pick up the shale or whatever, take it to a transfer point, or they would be taking equipment in and out, and it would just round and round.
Yeah, they I don't know. I'm doing pretty good. They're paying way better. So I was doing like a lot of bullshit construction and was doing the asphalt and the roofing and they were paying shit and I was killing myself. Like I could have easily probably jumped on that stuff like my cousin's doing, but I think I'm done being away from home. That's what makes this gig, even with the ups and the downs or however it's gonna go, it's like down the road from me. I don't have to fight. I don't have to fight no traffic. I don't have to really. I don't got to go into town. I'm leaving town to go to work. So
That's convenience is a good factor.
yeah, I mean the amount of like a lot of you know these different I don't know people leaving home or whatever. All these different oil gas jobs. You make good money, I mean, overall, but you start killing it on that overtime and that double time. And that's where like I start making really, really good money too. It's like the overtime and the double time. That's like really you could scrape by and get your 36 a week, or you could get your what is it, 40, 48. One week is 48, the next week is 36. And you could scrape by and just do that. Or you could do like I do and, try to do like 5 or 6 days a week. So 5 or 6 12s a week. It's rough.
Yeah, 60 hours. You start putting that in, it's hard to sustain.
Yeah, but I tell you what, when you see that paycheck, it's like, and I didn't have to leave home. You know what I mean? I'm not fighting traffic. I'm over here on my side of town, like, and I really don't even have to get another job. Honestly, I was talking about it last night. The guys that came over from the big company that owns my company now, and they've been with them. He was telling me like 5 years, and just with benefits and pension and 401k and all this other shit that he's got racked up with the company, it's ridiculous. I really, I could deal with some ups and downs. So, the bitching and complaining that I hear with people is whatever. So it's all good. It's
Yeah.
and all good at the same time because the Jeep thing's got my soul crushed right now. I don't got no life in me right now.
You don't have a final verdict, though, on if it's a frame total or not? You don't have that yet?
I could take it into like Chapman or like one of the dealers, but I think what I'm gonna do since it's paid off is I'm just gonna fucking take the doors off of it. I think I'm gonna take the doors off of it, and I'm gonna buy another Jeep though. I'm gonna buy another Cherokee, maybe like a '07. I'm already looking. So if they cut me any type of check, that'd be awesome. But if they don't, fuck them. And I'm about to dump Progressive if they do me like that.
Oh, man, you're stuck
The,
with them. Huh?
the liability end, I get it. Like just having liability. That's not really what I'm frustrated with. I'm frustrated that the accident is her fault, and
Yeah.
like they're gonna play. Both insurance companies are gonna play fucking politics with who, if I'm gonna get money. She's gonna get a brand new car.
She's got full coverage. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, she's got Geico full coverage. And
Yeah, it's up to Progressive to go to Geico. They go to insurance court or whatever and hash it out. So if your insurance company doesn't fight for you, that's to be bad shape.
Yeah, and I know Geico like does their homework. Like I've had Geico before, so I kind of feel like I'm gonna get screwed. But whatever. I don't know. I don't understand how somebody, like it's terrible, bro. It's everything that I ever bagged on and ragged on. She was like an overweight I'll just be nice, Mexican lady that her registration was expired like by months. You know what I mean? She's digging around for a registration in the car, like to show the cop, and the cop's like, your tags are like way old. You know what I mean? She's got her shoelaces are untied. He's like, you should tie your shoes. You're gonna fall. Like the cop's gotta tell her. I guess she worked an 8-hour shift, so her feet are swollen or something. She said that's some fucking off the wall shit. But she was traveling in a turn lane and she T-boned me and the kids in that Jeep. All her airbags went off. She totaled her shit.
Yeah.
And the kids, my son was sitting right there at that door. I'm saying that says something. I'll have to do a video on it. That says something for Jeep. I don't know what year that extends up to, but bro, she slammed into us, and really what it was like a jolt and a shock to everybody in the vehicle. Like she hit a steel wall when she hit that Jeep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you could see in the pictures the whole front end of that thing is crushed, and yours was like, I was like, I mean, that's pretty recoverable. It looks like, but the frame bending is what you got to worry about for sure.
Yeah, and the bottom part of I believe is the frame. I haven't really. I mean, I inspected it, but I'm pretty sure like the bottom part that runs underneath the door, right? That is bent. That's bent in.
Right.
I'll have to do a video. I'll do a video, but between the way she hit it, it's like all the force went into that front fender, into that cutoff to where it turns into a door, the door, and then that middle frame between the two doors.
Yeah.
Like it caught her shit mid getting ready to run through somebody's stuff. Cause I saw somebody in one of them same stupid Nissan Sentras. I saw them take off the whole front of a brand new Cadillac. I'm talking about cut through that thing like hot butter through, or hot knife.
Oh, so it was a Nissan. I thought it was a Toyota, but
no, it was a little Nissan Versa or Sentra.
Well, you got to remember the Jeep's designed for, even though it's kind of more cosmetic now for that's a rock rail area, the way they build those things. So they're designed to be fairly tough. And if you put side steps or whatever, it's designed to hold that. Hey, good morning, Miss B. Stacy. Thanks for joining us, checking in with us. You got any news on your end? On anything going on? For those that are just checking in, we're just pulling up the live video feed of the Tommy Robinson protest out of London. We had Geert Wilders get up earlier, the politician out of the Netherlands, had a pretty good speech for everybody. They announced earlier that there's about 20,000 that they estimate in attendance, and they are pretty packed in here like sardines all the way down this street here. So it is quite the crowd, and there's several different offshoots of small people mingling about in different groups that really can't hear what's going on the main stage. So they're just out there in the distance milling around. So it is quite the crowd. I haven't seen any videos if there's any protests elsewhere in England or Great Britain today. But we were just checking in on it to see what the status was. We've kind of made a rundown of all the other news. Links are below in your description box on some of the other stuff we covered, from the weather to the cost of your kids' education, or your education if you're looking at going to college yourself. So that's where we're at, and Tony decided to get off work and check in with us, so we're kind of rolling it on an early Saturday morning before we get the work started on our end here.
The work's done for me. Done. I'm off for 3 days, and usually I'd go in for OT. I am not going in for no OT.
Yeah, Miss B. Stacy. I have seen the videos of the people that are putting those videos out from Arizona with these camps they found. I've kind of been following that. I know what they're saying in those videos. That's all I really know. There's a couple of news stories separate that have their own news angle on them. There's also several videos out there of people questioning the validity of their statements. So I've kind of been looking at all that, but that's what I know.
I think I come off suspension of tomorrow.
Have you seen those videos, Tony?
No, I haven't. I seen Matt put up some tracking, some.
Yeah, I saw that earlier last week or earlier in this week. But there's this group out of Tucson or Phoenix called Veterans on Patrol that go out and look for homeless veterans out and about. And they put out a video about 2-3 weeks ago now of a camp they discovered, and they suspected it was child trafficking. And it kind of blew up, and it's kind of going around, and they're doing a big sweep, and they put a call out for a bunch of people to come out and help them and stuff and whatnot. But it's hard to get a good picture of what's going on without. It'd be good to have somebody like Matt go out there and kind of give us his perspective, or I think Space Buns is still down there too, to get their perspective on what's going. Maybe we could get Sonoran Desert Prepper out there to do a video or two and just what he's seen on the ground. I think he's in Tucson. How high is it down there, Tony?
Not enough. It's only supposed to be 102 today.
Oh, nice and cool. Yeah, we're cooling down this weekend. We've been in the high 80s all week, and to cool off, different front coming in, so might be able to get a lot accomplished this weekend.
Said it's supposed to drop into the 90s tomorrow, but yeah, man, I don't know why last night I was struggling, dude. It's way hotter inside the plant than it is outside, you know? So even at night when we came in at like 7 and it was so hot, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow.
They don't have good ventilation?
Well, it can't really because they'll be blowing shit all over the place. It'll be, it has to be like stagnant in there for them to do what we do, or for us to do what we do. Like there's doors open and shit, but there's nothing really, ventilating it.
Do you guys get, so do you wear like particulate masks all day?
No, we can wear them. We can wear Tyvek suits. They provide a bunch of shit. It's not mandatory, but because our levels they're all OSHA whatever, so they're at the threshold to where it's optional. It's not mandated, but it's provided by the employer. Just depends on what part of the plant you're on, I guess. Sometimes I put some shit on, but fuck the Tyvek suits, man. I hate them things. I always hated those things. Try working in a Tyvek suit in 130 degrees, it's like probably like 150 in that suit. Screw that. So it'll be fun this summer. I mean, I did the outside thing. I think the outside thing's different You know, like the outside hot, you catch shade, and even on the hottest days, like you're outside, you know, it's different inside when it's hot. You know, like we don't, it's a plant, so there is no swamp coolers, there's no AC, none of that.
Yeah, when it's stagnant, no airflow makes it the worst.
Yeah, I was struggling last night. I don't know what happened, man. I went to, it's funny because I went to take a piss, you know, and it wasn't the optimal color where it should have been. I guess I don't know. I have to cut the sugar and the energy drinks completely out. Usually around summertime I do, but I can't even pregame. Like I have to completely cut them out and switch to like Powerade and V8. They provide Gatorade, but Gatorade sucks, bro. I don't know if you've done. Yeah, I mean, you know, the extreme heat. To me, Gatorade sucks. It's too much
If you can
sugar.
get cold Gatorade, warm Gatorade sucks. I'd rather have warm water than warm Gatorade.
Yeah, we got the packets, the Gatorade packets, and so
All
like
right.
we got cold water provided to us, and you put the packets in there, shake it up. But just Gatorade, I don't know. I've done this whole heat thing, and out of Gatorade and Powerade, there's just way too much sugar in Gatorade. Powerade is way, way better, like in the extreme heat or working in the extreme heat.
Right.
And then,
Yeah, you got to keep. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I always used to, if it was really that hot, I'd just cut Gatorade, like mix it like half and half with water it down, just to get, you know, if you don't have Powerade or something else you like, you know, it depends on the flavors you like, I guess. But I always had to cut it because you need the water more than you need this. Like you said, the sugar, you need the electrolytes. But they put so much sugar in that stuff now.
yeah, like Gatorade is just way too much sugar. So Powerade is on par with where you're supposed to be at, I guess. And they even got like a different level of Powerade that I think Gatorade has something similar. So you spend 20 cents extra or whatever, and it's the Powerade. Da, 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 you know, I don't know what it is, but that and V8, man. V8, the cans, you could slam one of those every couple hours, kind of like chugging a beer. Oh my God, man, those things will pick you up off the floor. It's crazy.
I'd never thought of drinking a V8.
Yeah, just the original V8. I don't drink all the other ones. I'm sure maybe it probably goes the same, but dude, I had to try a lot of stuff working in the heat. And now like I'm going indoors, so it'll be hot. This will be a different hot. It'll be I'm gonna have to just consume a lot of electrolytes. I'm just gonna be sweating my ass off.
Yeah, get your Brondo in. You'll need it.
We got those electrolyte popsicles. Those are badass. The icy popsicles or whatever. Like,
I've never heard of those.
oh man, they're like a Gatorade, like a frozen Gatorade, icy pop. Like you just cut the top off and eat it like a little piece of ice cream or whatever, or icy pop, whatever the hell. Those are awesome because they're cold and they're full of good shit. But yeah, it'll be all summer, man. Couple weeks I'll be on grave again, so I'll be at night. But these weeks where I'll have to work during the days were really gonna suck. Won't be no chats coming out of my channel. See y'all in like October.
Yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of different options. If you're trying to, people swear by Pedialyte too. Like if you really need it, it doesn't taste good, but like you just chug some Pedialyte, that'll pick you up.
I'm down with Pedialyte. I know it's good shit and everything. the problem with Pedialyte is it's expensive. Like it's super. Look at the price of that shit.
Oh yeah, I haven't. I mean, my kids haven't been that age in a long time, but
You could
people
buy.
say, I've heard a lot of people say if you get really like almost heat exhaustion, if you're really down and out, like you slam some of that and it comes around.
Yeah, that you could get a whole case of Gatorade or Powerade for like one bottle of Pedialyte. That shit's expensive. It's good shit though. They make electrolyte tablets too. Those are really, really good. I had to try a bunch of stuff, man. I'll probably try a bunch of stuff this year too, you know. And it's good to me. It's good like prepping practice, you know, because obviously it's hot out here. So people think when it's extremely hot that you could just get by on drinking water. I mean, I guess you could. I mean, depending on how much you're sweating, right?
Yeah, if you're sweating so much, you got to put food, salts, and electrolytes and everything else back in.
Yeah, you can't just fucking drink water when you're sweating all day. You gotta put all that stuff in there. So I don't know. It's a good test. Not only that, you know, you lose a lot of weight during the summertime. So I'm off suspension tomorrow. I think tomorrow. We'll find out.
Oh, you're live streaming on the Tactical Tony channel?
Yeah. We'll see what
right.
see what we can cook up. Not gonna be nothing crazy. I can't even fart over there. They'll cut me down.
People are watching, right?
Yeah. It's like Twitter, man. It's just so strict now. It's like, do you want to participate in your freedom being lessened so much? You know what I mean? It was like maybe not as obvious that when they picked and choose before, but now it's like, you know who gets away with what, who doesn't get away with nothing. You know, because I can't write shit. I can't even write. I definitely can't write the F word or anything like that. Everything's got to be abbreviated.
Yeah. Are you still on Twitter?
Yeah, the 2 times I got shut down on this new account, it has been for just hate speech and racism or something. It's not even. I haven't. It was soft, dude. It was like rated G, like both times that I got shut down. It's crazy. It is what it is.
It looks like on the screen here, the RT has zoomed in on something going on in the crowd. The police don't seem too concerned, but the crowd's yelling at, like, focusing in on something, like telling somebody to get out or something. Maybe they had an instigator in their midst.
So what's he locked up for?
For telling the truth. Yeah, if you haven't been following, it's been about 3 weeks ago now. It's been a while.
Well, no, I mean, I followed him for a while, but what's the recent? I mean,
that's what I was going to get into. He was outside a court in Leeds, England. He was where they were doing they were going to pass down the sentencing for these people involved in what they called child grooming gang. Basically, they prep and select girls from rape and whatnot in these different places, and they had already been convicted, and they were going in for their sentencing. And he was outside the court, outside in the street on the sidewalk, not inside the building or anything, kind of reporting on it and just kind of bringing it out because it wasn't in the news anywhere. Nobody was covering it. There was no other press there. Nothing. Nobody was concerned about or asking questions or anything. And he's out there, and he was showing them as they went into court, and he was kind of asking them, "Hey, what do you think about your sentencing? How do you think it's going to go?" Kind of asking them those things, but also telling people it was live streaming on his phone at the time, and he was just telling everybody about what the case, kind of the background was, and talking about how the media wasn't covering it. But yeah, in any other case, any minuscule thing, the press will be out there hounding people, calling the press out as well. And the judge that was handling the case was kind of watching from the building. And at some point in time, it's like they flipped a switch and decided they'd go pick him up on whatever charge,
Conspiracy or what?
What they charged him with, what they picked him up with, is not what they put him in prison for either. While he was on suspension, on a suspended sentence or probation, basically from another previous charge, which was a 3-month, I think, sentence they suspended, but they sentenced him to 13 months. And usually, if you're on a suspended sentence, if you enact it, you just cover the period of time of that 3 months. But they even added on to it arbitrarily, it sounds like. But it was like contempt of court charge was the charge. He got picked up on the sidewalk of what the police told him. And then when he got into court, they wouldn't let him have his lawyer. They kind of kangarooed it, did a kangaroo court on him, gave him a public defender type thing, and charged him with something else inside the courtroom, which I can't remember what it was. Oh, no. On the street, they told him he was being charged with inciting the crowd or causing inciting violence or something like that. And then when he got in the courtroom, they charged him with contempt of court inside the courtroom. So it was two different things. It was all kinds of messed up. I was watching the live stream when it happened, and I was like, did they just, because he was out there in front of the court and there's cops out there, and he's talking to the cops like, am I good to video stream here? Is this okay? He's talking, they're like, yeah, you're on the sidewalk. He was conversing with them and everything. He wasn't being like hostile towards anybody. And then they just come out and pick him up straight up 1984 style.
They need to arm up.
Arm up, team up, train up.
I don't know how, but there's a will, there's a way.
Right. A.M. Long, good morning. Thanks for joining us. How's things out in your end of the country? Yeah, so they just got people speaking here on this. They just keep going on this. Nothing. The camera angles of these reports are just lousy at this protest. All the live streaming from the crowd is basically garbage because nobody can get a good live feed in edgewise. And she's not live anymore, it doesn't look like. This is like on the fringes of the crowd we've been following. This was on earlier. That's recorded. Yeah, it's pretty much, there's no good angle of what's going on, That's recorded. That was an hour ago. Anyway, I think I'm about ready to wrap it up, Tony.
All right. I'm going to crash out anyways.
Thanks for coming in and supporting. Let us know how that Jeep thing goes. Do a video or something.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. Hopefully it all comes back straight and you'll be able to continue on.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Whatever. I roll with the punches, man. I was bummed out for a day or two. I'm getting less bummed out as time goes by.
Oh yeah, less bummed out. Roger. All right. Well, if we're gonna check out, you got anything you want to shout out? You gonna do a chat this weekend? Anything, Tony?
I got 3 days with the family. I don't know, maybe, but probably just gonna hang out with the
If you
family.
get your chat right back, you might do a short one just to say you're back.
Yeah, true. Yep. Shout out to everybody out there who's comes around checking out the HT chats. I know when I'm on Grave, I can catch them. So see what happens when they go to days.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody have a good weekend. Stay alert. Stay alive. My mouse is froze. What's up with that? All right. Everybody have a good weekend. Barbecue or something. Don't work all weekend. Like it seems like I end up doing. But I do have some brats lined up, I think. Tony, do you realize how much taller a Sam Adams bottle is than a Sierra Nevada bottle?
A lot. The same measurement, right?
No, the Sierra Nevada are a smaller, shorter bottle. They're same volume, but they're
Yeah,
wide. You know, they're bigger around but shorter. I went to go put the Sam Adams in the fridge. It won't fit on the shelf the same way.
yeah,
Lessons learned.
yeah.
Yeah, that summer brew stuff, their summer mix is pretty good. That Sam Adams is.
I've been drinking the Modelo Cheladas, the freaking Mexican Bloody Marys, because I've been working Grave. So as soon as I get back on regular schedule, I'll probably be drinking some craft beers again.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a good weekend. We'll check in with you at some point. Live free.
Later.
Well, if I can get to the off button.